Hey, Jim Wolf here with dating advice for men who love women. I almost didn't post this presentation to YouTube because this is a little bit of an advanced topic. However, I think the concept that I'm talking about in this presentation is so important for your dating success, and it can be so helpful to you in terms of understanding dating dynamics and how things actually work that I decided to post it. However, I really think that it's very important to understand the fundamentals behind what we're talking about in this presentation. So if you haven't gotten one of our books yet, definitely go grab one of those and make sure that you understand all those fundamental principles first. And then you'll really understand what we're talking about in this presentation right now. And I'll tell you more about a couple of our books at the end of this presentation. And I highly encourage you to take notes if you want to during this presentation, because again, I think the concept that we're talking about here is critical to your success with women. And if you really understand and apply the concept that we're talking about in this presentation, a whole new world of success with women will open up to you. So let's go ahead and jump in. Here's the thing. Most men, even with the amount of information out there these days, have no idea that the concept of challenge even exists when it comes to attracting a woman. And challenge is what women really want. And even if they don't logically want it, challenge is what women actually respond to when it comes to making them more interested in you. And for them to fall in love with you, it requires you being a challenge. So when a guy first starts learning the truth about attraction and love, and he hears about this concept of being a challenge, he starts being more of a challenge with women. And because he's being more of a challenge, he starts getting much better results with women. However, at that point, when a guy starts being a challenge and he understands this concept a little bit, a lot of times he hits a wall at that point and he gets kind of stuck and he doesn't make it all the way home. And there are two reasons for that. Number one, they forget the main purpose of being a challenge, which is to raise a woman's interest in you and to actually be with her, not to ultimately push her away. So part of being a challenge is pushing a woman away in addition to pulling her in, but the ultimate goal is to be with her, not to keep pushing her away forever. And number two, sometimes a guy hits this wall because he doesn't completely understand what being a challenge actually means and how to apply the concept properly. For example, to be a challenge, you should wait 4 to 8 days after each date to ask a woman out again. However, if she asks you out before that time, you should accept her invitation unless she asks you to meet up the same day. And in that case, you just say, I'd love to hang out, but I'm busy today. Can we meet up tomorrow instead? Or a couple of days from now, like, can we meet up on Thursday instead? And why should you accept her invitation, even though it hasn't been that 4 to 8 day period yet? Well, because when she asks you out, it's her idea. And that's the whole point of being a challenge in the first place, raising her interest in you and making being with you her idea. That's your entire goal when it comes to this dating dance. You want it to be her idea to kiss you, to keep going out with you, to become your girlfriend, to marry you, and then to stay with you forever if that's what you want. You want to make that her idea. Because if all of those things are her idea, then you're winning the game. That's the whole idea. And she's winning the game too, by the way. Because everything's better when it's her idea. Never forget that. Everything's better when it's her idea. So remember, the purpose of being a challenge is to raise a woman's interest level and encourage her to chase you. Encourage her to make a move towards you sometimes. Because when a woman's coming toward you, she can't reject you at the same time. I'm going to say that one more time because it's really important. When a woman is taking steps towards you, she can't move away from you or reject you at the same time. And because you hang back and wait before you make your next move, instead of just rushing into rejection like most men do. It allows time and space for her interest in you to grow, and her interest in you grows the most when she makes a move toward you. So we want her coming towards you as much as possible. And you have to give her the opportunity to make a move towards you. And that's really what being a challenge means at the end of the day. And that's why most men are not very successful with women. They just make as many moves as possible toward a woman until they get rejected, and they never allow her to make any moves towards them at all. They don't realize that women pursue men too. They think it's the man's job to just keep pursuing, chasing. They don't realize that she's involved in this dance too. She should get the opportunity to make a move when it's her turn as well. It's a two-way street. And for a woman to become more interested in you, you at least have to give her the opportunity to take a step towards you as well. And so how can you set things up so that a woman that you're dating at least has the opportunity to come towards you while still taking the lead? Well, that's a really good question. And the answer is to make everything her idea. And how can you make everything her idea? Well, let's go through a few examples of how this actually plays out in real life so you can start applying it today. And let's start with a question I got by email the other day from a VIP client. Scott P. wrote in, "A woman I'm dating messaged me to say that she's there and noticed that I'm online, but have not messaged her much. It's the first time that she has admitted to following me to see that I'm online, so I think that this reflects an increase in her interest in me. I think I should ignore this message from her, but what is the best way? Thanks, Scott." Now, first of all, I just want to say that this question reflects a solid knowledge of how attraction works in the first place. It's obvious that he's already gone through at least one of our systems. And secondly, this is a really good question that actually shows how things play out in the real world. So here's what happened in this case. Scott kept his cool and he didn't message this woman a lot, like probably every other guy who's liked her in her life has. And so, of course, she noticed that because he's a little different. He's not chasing her like every other guy. And because she noticed it, she asked him about it. She brought it up. And here's the thing about that. When a woman asks you about something like that, it's a very strong indicator of interest. And so here's how you should handle it. Instead of playing hard to get or ignoring this kind of incoming message from a woman, you just say something like, "Would you like me to message you more often?" And then if she says, "Well, yeah," then you can say, "Okay, I think I can do that," smiley face. Does that make sense? So here's the thing. It's not okay for you to message her a lot before she brings it up, because that's you being a challenge. However, once she brings it up, you ask her if she wants you to message her more often. And then if she says yes, you can message her a little more often after that. You still shouldn't go crazy with it, but you can do it a little bit more. And why are you able to do it now? Because it's her idea. Does that make sense? Awesome. And now let's go through a few more examples so this idea really starts to sink in and so you can start applying it to a lot of specific situations in your dating life. And let's stick with the theme of texting for the next one. So let's say a woman texts you something like, "Hey, why haven't you asked me to meet up again yet?" After 3 days have passed since your first date with her. You can just say, "Hey, I was just about to text you and say we should meet at Wine Bar on Thursday. Does 7 p.m. work for you?" You can ask her out in this case before that 4 to 8 day window because it's her idea, because she brought it up. Or if she texts you something like, "Hey, why haven't you texted me yet, mister?" You can say, "I did." And then she might say something like, "When?" And then you can say, "Just now, silly," with a smiley face or a winky face. And then at that point, you just move that texting conversation forward. "How are you?" or "How have you been?" or "What are you up to?" etc. And then you just keep that conversation going from there and then maybe ask her to meet up with you. Since she texted you, and asked you about it, you can text her back even if you wouldn't normally text her yet, because it's her idea. So again, we want to be a challenge because that allows her to eventually be more direct and cough up her interest in you. When a woman is direct with you like this, that's an extremely strong indicator of interest, and it also raises her interest. And again, that's ultimately exactly what we want. So let's go through a few more examples. When you're having your first conversation with a woman and she says, "Are you flirting with me?" You can say, "Why? Do you want me to flirt with you?" And then kind of have a smirk on your face where you're smiling with your eyes but not your mouth. Kind of a mischievous smile. Like, "Do you want me to flirt with you?" Or you can respond back with, "Are you flirting with me?" So you want to flip that back around on her and imply that it's her idea for you to flirt with her. And here's another one. Let's say you're starting to like a woman, maybe you've been on a date or two with her, or you can even just drop this in your first conversation if you want, and you realize that you're starting to like her. You can say, "Hey, stop making me like you. It's not fair and I won't stand for it." That's a really funny line, and it implies that your interest in her is her idea or her secret plan. Plus, this kind of line pulls her in and pushes her away at the same time, which is brilliant and charming. So you can just say, "Hey, stop making me like you. It's not fair," whenever you kind of feel yourself getting more interested in her. And again, that kind of makes that her idea or implies that it's her idea. And then when you get to the point where you want to go for a kiss, you can say something like, "If you keep looking at me that way, I might have to kiss you later." Then her response to that verbal primer will tell you if you have the green light or not, and if you do, it will at least be partly her idea to kiss you. Does that make sense? Awesome. And then when you do actually kiss a woman, you want to pull back from the kiss first. And then if she pulls your head back in, or she looks at you with hungry eyes, then it's her idea to kiss more. And then in the beginning stages of dating, do not ask a woman to meet up with you on a Friday, a Saturday, or a holiday until she brings it up. "Hey, why don't we ever go out on the weekends? Do you have a girlfriend or something?" Then at that point, once she brings it up, then you can start taking her out on Fridays and Saturdays. Otherwise, don't take her out on a Friday or Saturday until she's your official girlfriend and you're committed to each other. So during that beginning stage, the first 2 to 3 months when you're just dating, the first 6 to 10 dates or so before she said, "Hey, where's this relationship headed?" And then you ask her to be your girlfriend and you commit to each other. Before that time, don't take her out on a Friday or Saturday until she brings it up. "Hey, why don't you ever take me out on the weekend?" Then at that point, you can start taking her out on the weekend because it's her idea. And when it's her idea, it's not too serious too soon. It's not too heavy too soon. It's not chasing her. Now it's her idea and it's perfectly fine to do it. Okay, here's the last one. In my opinion, you should say "I love you" to a woman very infrequently. Like maybe once or twice a year, after a huge event happens, when you get engaged to her, maybe on your wedding day, when she has your child. It should be a very special thing for you to say those 3 words. And what you want to do is show her that you love her via your actions and give her all the things that she actually wants instead of saying it with your mouth. However, if you've been with a woman for a while and she brings it up, "I notice that you don't tell me you love me very often," then you can say, "Would it make you feel better if I say it?" And if she says, "Of course it would. Every woman wants to hear those magic words." Then you say, "Okay, ready? I love you, 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 I love you." There, I said it. Is that better? With a smile on your face. So you want to say it a lot in that one instance. And then you just want to go back to showing her you love her by treating her properly while you keep your mouth shut about your feelings for her for the most part. Does that make sense? So saying "I love you" can get really cheap if you say it all the time. It loses its value. And especially if you're not doing everything to show her that you love her, that we talk about in our systems, for example, then those 3 words are going to be meaningless. And we want them to mean something. And so you're not necessarily going to say it all the time. You're going to just show it as much as you can. And then if she brings it up, you don't resist. You give her a big mountain of I love yous, and then you go back to the way you were doing it before, which is showing her you love her versus telling her with your mouth. And when she brings it up, it's not too sappy. It's not meaningless. It's not something that lost its value. It means it is valuable, and then you can give it to her at that point. So remember, lead things forward with a woman by taking slow, measured steps forward while being a challenge, and then when she makes a move toward you, reward her for showing her interest, because once something is her idea, you're golden. And this is one of the biggest keys to women. And if you want to know exactly how to make things her idea, and you're not sure if you want a long-term relationship yet or not, go grab your copy of The Good Guy Guide right now. The Good Guy Guide shows you how to develop strong short-term connections with women. And then if you decide you want a relationship with any of these women at any point, it's really easy to transition into relationship mode if you follow this system. So again, if you're not sure that you want a long-term relationship right now, go to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com/GGG. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com/GGG, and grab your copy of The Good Guy Guide right now. And if you do want a girlfriend or a wife, go grab your copy of our best-selling Attract and Keep Her system right now. Inside the Attract and Keep Her system, you'll discover exactly what to do step by step from the first moment that you meet a woman that you're interested in to make it her idea to go on a second date with you, and to kiss you, and to keep dating you, and to be your girlfriend. And then if you want, to be your wife, and then to stay with you as long as you want to be with her. So if that's something that you want, go to attractandkeepher.com/system. That's attractandkeepher.com/system, and grab your copy now. So again, if you haven't already, definitely go grab one of these 2 systems to make sure that you know the basic fundamentals underneath the topic that we discussed in this presentation. Because without that solid foundation first and that deeper understanding of how to be a challenge with a woman, the topic that we talked about today is almost irrelevant. And if you do understand how to be a challenge and also understand the topic we just talked about, then you'll be able to start getting the results you really want with women. And as a thank you for being awesome and checking out this presentation, we also have some free gifts for you. We have some advanced free training for you, and you can get that by going to datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. That's datingadviceformenwholovewomen.com. So at the very least, start with our advanced free training and go from there. And if you need to, come back and listen to this presentation after you've gone through one of our systems. I'm Jim Wolf with Dating Advice for Men Who Love Women. Never forget that everything's better when it's her idea. And I'll talk to you later.